Hi everybody, this is Dr. Jill Bishop and I want to teach you the principles of a physical exam today as a veterinary assistant. So my veterinary assistants, when they are in the exam room with the doctor, we don't want them to wait or be invited to get the animal on the table. If it is a less than 40-pound dog, we want to make sure that that animal is up on the table facing the owner and ready to go for the physical exam. If it is over 50 pounds, usually we'll do those kids on the floor. If you're not sure what the doctor would like, then that is a time to maybe ask, hey, should we get him up on the table or are we doing on the floor? Ask the doctor's preference on those cases. So Hank is going to be my buddy today, and we're going to get him on this exam room table behind me. And as a veterinary assistant, you are going to stand on the opposite side of the table as your veterinarian, because during a physical exam, you want to be kind of out of the way. Your main job is to keep the animal happy and safe and keep the doctor safe. And we don't want anybody to get hurt or bit. And we also want to make sure that it is perceived as a compassionate, kind visit to the owner. So we're gonna get Hank on the table and we're gonna start showing you how to do a physical exam assistant hold. Hey, come here. Come here. So I'm lifting Hank up onto the table. I use my thighs, not my back, and a little squat so that we don't hurt our backs, but I'm on the opposite end of the table. We're gonna pretend that my veterinarian is over here. Hank is up is on the little showcase spotlight here for our physical exam. Almost every veterinarian will start their exam from the head and work their way back. So when a vet looks at the eyes, ears, teeth, lymph nodes, everything kind of above the collar, your job as a veterinary assistant is to protect that veterinarian from the teeth that can kind of come at them. So I've got one hand that I like to put in front of my dog so they don't jump off the front of the table. The other hand I kind of put under the belly. But not only is this hand just in front, I want to kind of put it around that neck. And the reason is I've got a really good quick way to get a good control of that dog in a short period of time. If for some reason we take it from a real friendly, nice little demeanor to if Hank decides that he doesn't like what's happening, I've got a real quick ability just to keep that doctor safe and protect my doctor by holding on. Now, I don't have to get a tight grip the entire exam. I could just be petting him nicely, but my hand has to be kind of in that collar zone. If it's down here, it is not in that collar zone, and it is not a good, quick way to protect my doctor. It's got to be up here in that collar zone, but we can certainly pet him, tell him how good he is. We can, be feeding him treats. There's lots of ways to do that and keep Hank nice and happy and comfortable during that exam. When a doctor looks at the ears, a lot of times dogs are here because we may be discovering an ear infection or we have a painful ear. That's going to be a critical time that a dog could snap at a veterinarian. So we want to make sure that we're holding on to his nose. Either, I call it my C-shaped hold on the muzzle. Can't do that on all dogs. My little smash face dogs, that won't work. But a C-shaped hold around his nose and the second hand on the back of his head. And that allows my doctor to look at this right ear safely. The back of my hand is the C, and that's the part that goes towards the doctor. Not like this, where he can easily grab his little nose away from me. Rather, the C-shaped hold with the flat part of my hand towards my doctor when the doctor is looking at his ear. When the doctor comes to the other side of the table, simply move your hand to the other side, and that keeps his head stabilized and his mouth nice and closed for that doctor to safely look at this left side of his ear. When the doctor's looking at his eyes, you might kind of take both hands and kind of pat him here, but a lot of times the dogs will kind of, avoid the little pen light or flashlight by moving their head. We want to stabilize that head so the doctor can focus on the eyes and not focus on finding where that dog's eyes are. So your job is to kind of stabilize and allow whatever part of that dog that veterinarian would like to look at, you're going to stabilize that part of the dog while keeping that vet safe. If a dog sits down and we need to listen to heart and lungs, we want to take our hand and kind of, help under the belly and stand that dog back up again. If for some reason the vet needs you to have him sit down, I like to take this arm and tuck right behind his knees, and we can ask Hank to sit easily. That's kind of nice for blood draws, vaccines, nail trims, things like that. That's a nice way to get a dog to kind of sit during that exam. On the floor, everything is very much the same, but you're crouched down. Thank you, Hank, he's giving me a hug. You're crouched down on the floor with him, so instead of me being standing next to him, I'll be squatted down on the floor right next to Hank, but same principle. I'm gonna hold his head for the eyes, ears. I'm gonna go ahead and put my little hand around his little collar zone while the doctor listens to heart and lungs. If he sits down, I'm gonna stand him back up. There are a couple dogs that you'll see that maybe less is more. Hank is not one like that. He likes lots of hugs. But if you find that there's a less is more type of dog, then some dogs, if we did a big hold like this would be too much for that pet. What I would suggest otherwise for those little kids is, maybe kind of do some neck pats with both hands right around their head, so that if a dog were to turn quickly, your hands are still there to protect the doctor. So that neck zone is the biggest thing that you need to keep in mind during that physical exam. During physical exams, the doctor's usually talking, so it's not a whole lot of chit chat by my assistants. That's before and after the doctor get in the room, but feel free to give that pet plenty of treats, and obviously the owner lots of compliments on the care that they're giving for their dog, as soon as that exam is over. So when the exam's over, we're gonna let Hank down to the ground. Again, not lifting with my back, lifting with my thighs, and we're gonna safely lift this guy down to the ground. Some little tips and pointers during those exams on the table. My little dogs, sometimes like my puppies, they don't really know all the routine of being on that table just yet. So always a hand in front of their chest. We don't need any skydiving, anybody getting hurt during the exam. Not only are we keeping the doctor safe, but we're keeping the dog safe too. So kind of keep that in mind. And those are the principles for our physical exam as a veterinary assistant.